My name is Jeremy Crow. Oh, actually, I don't have the proper mic in. Just one second. Of course. Okay, this should be better. Welcome to my channel. My name is Jeremy Crow, and tonight I'm going to be talking about the Luciferian Research Society website. So, tonight, which is the eve of the um, year 13 of the new Luciferian era, the eve of the winter solstice of 2025 in the Gregorian calendar. And it is the final day of the operation of the Luciferian Research Society website, which was in operation for over 16 years. And it was initially launched in September, early September of 2009. Now, if you're not aware, the Luciferian Research Society was created to be a community hub for members of the Luciferian community worldwide. And this would be for people who were part of different esoteric orders, but also solo practitioners were welcome. And it would be a non hierarchical structure. So it would be a flat structure in the sense that there was not going to be levels or degrees. The Luciferian Research Society is not intended to be an esoteric order. It's more of a community center where individuals can come together and interact, communicate with one another, share knowledge with one another, cross pollinate ideas between different sects and branches of Luciferianism and the left hand path and the occult in general. And one of the things that I set it up with was a website that was a full service social media platform, you could say, almost like a MySpace or a Facebook, but just for people like us, just for Luciferians and adjacent paths. So Satanists are welcome, people who practice Setian philosophy, people who just consider themselves generic left hand path or eclectic left hand path, dark pagans, even people who consider themselves right hand path. There are a lot of people who practice Thelema, for example, which some people do practice it as a left hand path, but other people, the majority, practice it as a right hand path. And also, there are a lot of people who don't even bother uh, categorizing themselves under left hand path, right hand path dichotomy, including myself. But at the time, I did fully consider myself left hand path. Now, I find that the further along my path I travel, the less meaningful that division becomes. So, in a lot of ways, I am left hand path, but in other ways, maybe not so much. And I'm not going to deny that truth about myself because it doesn't fit some preconceived notion or some authority figure's definition of what is left hand path and what is not. You know, if I receive gnosis, if I receive truth, if I have revelation, personal revelation, experiences, knowledge of the self, knowledge of the world that it has shown itself repeatedly to be true and proven to be valid in my experience, I'm not going to deny that, even if it doesn't conform to, like I said, to some external figure, some person who set themselves up as an authority figure in the left hand path community, that they've defined the term in a certain way and in a very specific way. And if my revelation or my gnosis, my personal gnosis, doesn't fit that, I don't give a damn. That is the truth to me. And that is, I'm still open to learning. I'm still open to new information and changing my mind. But I'm not going to limit myself to conforming to some external authority figure's definition of what that path entails. I can hear my bird is is squawking a little bit. So if you hear that noise, it's my bird. So tonight I wanted to talk about about the Luciferian Research Society. If you saw the title of this video, you'll be wondering, is the Luciferian Research Society done? Is it over? Is it finished? Well, the website that I launched in 2009, that website is done. It's finished. It has been closed down after more than 16 years of operation. However, the Luciferian Research Society itself continues, just on a different platform. So let me give you a bit of information here, a bit of context. Over the past 5.5 years, there has been a Discord server for the Luciferian Research Society. And a lot of members of the website joined the Discord server as well. And over time, more and more people were joining the Discord server and participating in discussion and organizing events, sharing knowledge, and having conversation with one another via the Discord server, and less using the website itself. So I found that at this point, there were very few people using the website, almost none. Like you could go in there and check it. You could post something and check it a week later, and maybe you are the most recent person to post something in the forum or in the blogs and that sort of thing. Maybe even 2 weeks you could go without seeing any other activity. And so it got to the point where I thought, this is a wasted resource. This is a platform that nobody is really using. So I put out a notice that it would be closing on, it would be closing by winter solstice of this year. And I wanted to see, part of it was to see if there would be a resurgence of activity or not. I honestly didn't expect there to be, but I was willing to continue the website if there was. But just as I expected, there wasn't a resurgence of activity. But a lot of people who didn't realize that there was a Discord server joined it. So it's continued to grow. At this point, the Discord server for the Luciferian Research Society has over 550 registered members, and it is very active. It's a very active community. There are people in there logged in um, at any given hour of the day or night. You can go into the LRS, Luciferian Research Society, Discord server and find people that are on there that are talking about different subjects that may be of interest to you. You can start up a conversation, and there is going to be somebody in there that will respond. It's a very mutually respectful environment. Somehow we've managed to maintain a very respectable environment where people aren't jerks to one another. You know, people tend to be um, to have a lot of respect for one another in the Discord server, just like they did on the website. So that is a very open and inviting environment for people to communicate with one another. And that's very important to me. And if anybody becomes too disruptive, or they start acting in a way that's bullying or something like that, they'll be they'll be given a chance to correct their behavior and not engage in that sort of um, non-productive conversation. What's the point? Why try and bully people, or just be a jerk for being a jerk's sake? Um, they'll be told that that's unacceptable, and if they continue, then they get kicked out. Simple as that. And it's a I love it. I think that the Luciferian Research Society, or LRS Discord server, as well as the website when it was active, is a great place for people to engage with other members of the global community of Luciferians, occultists, left hand path practitioners, etc., and organize events, all these sorts of things. We have channels to discuss various different esoteric orders. So if you're interested in learning about different prominent orders within the Luciferian and Left Hand Path community, there is a space to discuss that. You will likely find people who are active members of those various esoteric orders, and you can ask some questions. If you are a member, you can answer questions, obviously within the bounds of what you can share with people who are not members of that order. There are often inner teachings that are reserved for people who have decided to dedicate um, time and energy to participating in that path. And it's not really fair to share that information with people who haven't made that same kind of commitment. And that's totally understandable. But there are plenty of things you can discuss with people who aren't members. And so we have those spaces available for different esoteric orders, such as the Novus Ordo Luciferi, which is the esoteric order that I founded, which I use as a vehicle to teach the system of occultism that I've developed over the course of my, you could say, career as an occultist. Over the time that I have dedicated myself to researching and practicing and experimenting and evolving my various different practices. I have, over time, and I've been a practicing occultist for over 30 years now. And beyond that, even before that, I was a lucid dreamer for over 40 years, for example. And, I've been doing this for a very long time, and I've spent this time refining and exploring and experimenting different techniques and practices, and I've developed my own unique system of occultism that I wanted to share with others to bring the light of knowledge of that system to other people who um, have decided that they want to learn that system and have devoted a certain amount of energy into learning that. And so the Novus Ordo Luciferi exists for that purpose, and as well to further the goals of being a light bearer in the world in general. So the word or the name Novus Ordo Luciferi means the new order of light bearers. And the light bearers are the members themselves. That members themselves of the order aspire to become a light bearer in their own unique way. And to be a light bearer is to share knowledge, light being a symbol, universal symbol of knowledge and awareness, and bringing the light is to share knowledge with others in the hopes that it will empower them, in the hopes that it will help emancipate themselves from systems of control that are built upon hiding and twisting knowledge and exploiting people's ignorance. That through knowledge, you can free yourselves from those types of systems. That knowledge and truth can undermine systems that derive their power from um, hiding and twisting knowledge and exploiting ignorance. So that is one of the major goals of the Novus Ordo Luciferi, as well as to teach members this system of occultism that I've developed over the course of 30 plus years. So if you are interested in that, you can learn a bit more about it from the public channel for Novus Ordo Luciferi within the LRS Discord server. And there's an invite link in the description of this video to the LRS Discord server if you're interested in joining, if you aren't already a member. It's completely free to join the LRS Discord server. It's a public, open meeting place, a community center for the Luciferian community. And there are other channels as well for esoteric orders, such as the Order of Phosphorus, which was founded by Michael W. Ford. There is a channel to discuss the Temple of Ascending Flame, which was founded by Asenath Mason. There's another one to discuss information about the Sect of the Horned God, which was founded by Thomas Leroy, who recently passed, um, which I was very saddened to hear about. I had met him in Portland, Oregon at a conference that I had produced, and I really enjoyed his company. I thought that he was a really interesting person and very friendly. And his wife, Lisa Corrine, which was, which she's also been a leader of the um, Sect of the Horned God, and I believe she probably has is leading the organization now. And there is a channel to discuss the Sect of the Horned God, things like that. So there are channels to discuss different esoteric orders. I think there's a channel for the Temple of Set as well to discuss information about that. Again, these are public channels, so you're not going to find um, inner order teachings in these channels, but it's a good place to kind of get an idea of what these esoteric orders are about and what types of teachings and practices you might encounter if you decide to participate in them. There are a lot of other channels that are focused on just topics of interest. So we have like an astral and dreaming channel. We have a channel for tarot and divination. We even have a channel for um, aliens and UAP because that is a topic that a lot of members are interested in. We have some fun channels, like we have a meme channel where people can share memes, and a food talk channel where people can just talk about food that they like and that they've eaten or that they've prepared. But most of the channels are esoterically oriented. Um, and we also have some non English channels. So if you wanted to discuss topics in Korean or in Russian or French, there are channels where you can discuss esoteric topics in those languages. So it's a very comprehensive server, and you're going to, if you're looking for anything related to Luciferianism, the left hand path, etc., that's you're going to find a place to discuss it in the Luciferian Research Society Discord server. Let me see. There's been a few comments here. Let me go through some of these comments. Wraith says, "Greetings, Jeremy. I didn't get notification for some reason, but sending positive thoughts and energy your way. Thank you very much. I appreciate that." Wraith also said, "I agree I'm more left hand path, but I try to live in balance." Yeah, I appreciate that perspective. Domina says, "I call myself an eclectic Luciferian. I appreciate your input and the knowledge you share." Well, I'm glad that you are getting some value out of it. Thank you for sharing that comment there, Domina. Wraith says, "Very true. Environmentalists like that is definitely needed without the uh, foolishness." I'm sorry, I'm not. I guess it was so long ago that I forgot what the context was for that. Yeah, Thomas Leroy was mentioned. Yeah, arrest in power, Thomas. Yeah. Some people just talking amongst each other in the chat, which is great. Um, One of the things that has been a big mission of mine personally in sharing information on my YouTube channel, in creating the Luciferian Research Society in the first place, uh, producing the Flambeau Noir International Left Hand Path conferences. I did the first International Left Hand Path conference back in 2012, the very first of its kind that wasn't specifically for one particular esoteric order. Um, you see, there had been conferences for members of different particular orders, but they were all separate. You had to be a member of that order to go to that conference. And there were none that people could come from all the different orders and commingle, cross pollinate. And that was essentially the ethos of the Luciferian Research Society brought into IRL. space, meet space, into the real world, into a physical meeting place in the world where people could come together who were from different esoteric orders, solo practitioners, people who are simply curious could attend and hear lectures, prepared talks from um, subject matter experts, people who were leaders of different branches of the community, people who were authors, that sort of thing, that had something to share, and they would provide a prepared lecture on on a particular subject, and you could listen to them right then and there, and then ask questions. Um, and the really cool thing is that you'd have these people who were part of different groups that weren't necessarily always friendly with one another. Because, of course, like any community, you have a bit of infighting between different branches and um, different schools within that same broader community. And that's kind of inevitable. But what I found was once you got them in the same room together, they would air some of their grievances a little bit, but then that would quickly dissolve, and you would find people making friends with people that they never imagined that they would um, find a common ground with. Because they're in the same room together, it has a different vibe to it compared to people being online and just being keyboard warriors and being, you know what I'm saying? So that was something magical that came out of doing these international left hand path conferences that brought people together from different branches. And that, like I said, that's what my mission has been a lot of the time, has been to create those bridges, create those spaces for people who are part of different branches of Luciferianism, different branches of occultism, to be able to share knowledge with one another, to facilitate that transfer, that cross pollination, that exchange, and to strengthen the connections and to create more cohesiveness, to create more mutual support of one another. Because let's be honest, this is a very niche thing. It is definitely not mainstream. The Luciferian community, even the left hand path community in general, occultism as a whole is not part of the mainstream by definition, even though elements of it are finding their way into more mainstream culture. The occult in general is still a very niche thing, and we need to stick together. We need to back each other up, support one another, because a lot of the mainstream traditions that are out there, mainstream religion, a lot of mainstream society, they don't like that we exist. And they would prefer if we didn't exist at all. And they would rather suppress what we're trying to what we're trying to do. They don't want our voices to be heard. And they would rather us be fragmented and fighting one another. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can support one another. We can share knowledge with one another to strengthen each other's communities, to empower each other, and we can maintain our own individual sovereignty. We can maintain our own individual traditions while doing that still. We don't have to give up our individuality. We can celebrate each other's individuality and continue to support one another at the same time. It's possible, it's not mutually exclusive. And I know this firsthand from the different community initiatives that I have participated in, that I have launched. And the Luciferian Research Society is a big part of that. And I'm glad that it is continuing on. Like I said, we have over 550 members of the Discord server. So even though the initial website is now closed, the Luciferian Research Society continues on in a different platform. And it, I encourage you to join us and participate as well within that community, within the Luciferian Research Society community. And like I said, you maintain your individuality. You're not joining some authoritarian hierarchical structure with authority figures that are gatekeeping um, access to different teachings. It is a town square. It is a community center where different groups, different individuals can come and share fellowship amongst one another, to explore what each other is up to, and to provide support where it makes sense for one another. When our interests align, we can boost that signal and empower one another, that sort of thing. And like I said, another initiative that I've been a part of is launching the International Left Hand Path Conference, which I later gave the name Flambeau Noir to. And where that name comes from, it is French for black torch. And a blackened torch is one that has been lit, one that's been used, one that carries the flame, right? And what kind of flame is that? Of course, it's a black flame, right? But this is the thing about a torch. You can share that flame with other people. You can light other torches without diminishing your own. You don't lose the flame on your torch when you light another torch with it. When you share that flame, when you share that light, when you become a light bearer, a bringer of light, and you share the flame of your torch with others, you are able to empower them without diminishing your own. You don't have to give up the flame on your torch in order to light someone else's, to pass the flame of that torch to others, to share knowledge. It's a metaphor for sharing knowledge with one another. Wraith says, that's amazing to have a real community coming together without the toxic behaviors, which can make joining groups difficult. Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is something that I've found um, extremely important and extremely valuable, because there's so much division out there. Everywhere you go, you see people divided. You see people fighting, arguing, and sure, there are debates that go on. There are discussions that where people don't necessarily agree on all points, but they're not devolving into crass name calling or bullying and that sort of thing. And if they do, um, they are that it's pointed out to them, and we're like, okay, listen, that's not cool. What you're doing there? Why? Right? It's not productive, and it just serves to divide us, and we're not trying to be about that. So, yeah, that has been probably one of my biggest missions in, like I said, sharing knowledge on this YouTube channel, creating spaces such as the Luciferian Research Society, the website, while it was active, the Discord server now, where it has become, where the activity has moved to, the in person spaces that we have for the Flambeau Noir on occasion, as well as more localized events such as um, branches of the Greater Church of Lucifer while that was active, later renamed Assembly of Light Bearers. I was one of the, I guess technically still am one of the co presidents of that. Um, and we had branches all over the world where people could come and physically meet. And I'm trying to build that back up again. That sort of thing through the Novus Ordo Luciferi. We have actually members in over a dozen countries in the NOL, the Novus Ordo Luciferi, and we are starting to establish local branches of that. Um, I'm trying to kind of rekindle the some of that energy that we had, some of the best aspects of the Greater Church of Lucifer and the Assembly of Light Bearers, and bring that forward. Now, with the GCOL, ALB, that was a purely that was an organization, not an esoteric order, but that was an organization that was focused on the philosophy and lifestyle of Luciferianism. And it did not teach occultism, it didn't have an esoteric order or an occult system specifically tied to it. If you wanted to learn occultism, you would have either joined the Order of Phosphorus or Ordo Luciferi, which has now evolved into the Novus Ordo Luciferi, which is what is active now. So those were the occult systems, the occult paths that you could take if you were interested in it. But the GCOL and ALB itself was not teaching occultist an occult system specifically. Like I said, it was more about teaching the philosophy and lifestyle of Luciferianism. We did get into occult subjects here and there, but it was never a proscribed system that members would undertake to learn. It was more about just um, sharing different aspects of occultism with one another, different members who were experts in certain forms of occultism would sometimes give a prepared lecture on that particular topic for other people to learn from, that sort of thing. Let me see. We got some. Rafe says, that's been my challenge as somebody who has been studying by myself. Finding a community can be tough. Yeah, I agree. It can be difficult to find a community, but if you endeavor to build a community, I find that it's been a lot easier than anticipated. There are a lot of people who think the way that you do, that they wish that there was a community of people for them to participate in. And when somebody steps up and says, let's get together and have regular meetings in this location, and we can talk about different uh, Luciferian topics, occult topics. We can sometimes do group rituals and that sort of thing. If somebody steps up and says, hey, let's do this, there's going to be a whole bunch of people that are like, yeah, heck yeah, I've been looking for that for a long time. So it just takes that person to go ahead with the initiative to go ahead and say, hey, let's do this. And so, yeah, so I think that there are a lot of people who think that way, that they're like, I wish that there was a community instead of just starting one and people showing up to it and being like, oh, there's a community now. Let me go to it, right? Um, Paw Bear says, I would love to see a branch slash church in Austin, Texas. Actually, contact me because there is a branch of the Novus Ordo Luciferi that has just started to establish itself in Texas, and I think it might be in Austin. Um, so contact me. Actually, you can email me. Go to the novusordoluciferi.org website. And actually, there's a link in the description of this video to the NOL website. I think the link goes directly to the course catalog because as a member, as a participant of the NOL, you get access to a whole catalog of courses that are part of a full learning platform that's built into the website, into the NOL website. And as a when you become a member, a participant of the NOL, you get access to all of those courses. And there are over 40 hours of video lessons embedded within the course modules on the learning platform, the NOL learning platform that you get access to when you join. And membership in the NOL is it costs $5 American per month, and that gets you unlimited access to all of the courses, all of the written documents, the entire library of inner teachings and practices. It gets you access to a special Discord server just for members of the Novus Ordo Luciferi. It's a separate Discord from the LRS, which is the LRS is a free public Discord server. But for people who have decided that they want to take their their occult practice to the next level, and they want to learn the system of occultism that I've developed, a unique system called Luciferian alchemy. Those people who have decided to dedicated some of their energy to learning that system, that it's $5 per month. And I see a comment here. Um, for those who are not subscribers on the NOL site, it is a well spent $5. Um, Says Paul Bear. Thank you very much for that endorsement. I appreciate that. Now, I've had people say that it's worth it just for the regular meetings alone. So we do have, at the very minimum, one meeting every week, 2 hours at the bare minimum every week, where members can come together. They can turn on their cameras, their mics, or they can just chat with a type if they are in an environment that doesn't allow them to use their cameras or mics. That's okay too. But people usually will use their cameras if they're able to, use their mics if they can, and they can just communicate with each other, discuss different topics. A lot of times people will use that as an opportunity to troubleshoot some of their practices. Like, for example, if they are trying to learn lucid dreaming or astral projection or tarot, they're coming up against certain challenges in their practice as they're learning. They can bring that up and get some knowledge from some more experienced individuals who have been practicing that specific thing for longer than they have. So you have access to not only myself, but other experienced and knowledgeable members. And everybody has their own specialty. Everybody has an area that they are more knowledgeable in than most other people. So, or maybe at least more knowledge about it than the person asking the question. So you get access to those individuals, and also you can just share fellowship with other people. Just talk about whatever you feel like talking about. And I've had people say that the $5 per month is worth it, even just for those meetings, to get access to those meetings. And like I said, we have them at the very minimum once a week, but usually we have more than that. Often I'll have one at the end of a public live stream. Not tonight, but often when I do a public live stream, one, I shut it down. When I close the live stream, afterwards there will be a meeting of the members of the NOL, and oftentimes it's casual, where we can discuss whatever we feel like, but occasionally there will be formal lessons taught by either myself or a subject matter expert that I've brought in, usually another member, but we can also sometimes have a guest speaker, who's not necessarily a member of the NOL, but is a subject matter expert that's willing to share their knowledge with the membership. And they will teach, or I will teach the subject live to people who are able to attend the live meeting. And it will be recorded, and then those recordings get used to create more courses that become available on demand for members on the NOL learning platform on the NOL website, which you unlock instantly when you join at the $5 per month level. Um, which that level gets you everything. The only thing, there are tiers above that, and it's operated through Patreon, because that's a very, typically most people trust that payment platform, and it's very convenient for recurring monthly dues payments and that sort of thing. There are tiers above the $5 per month, but that is mainly for individuals who want regular one on one sessions with myself that they can utilize for either um, tarot readings, if they want to get a tarot reading from me every month, for example, or if they want individual tutoring or coaching, that sort of thing, or if they just want to talk about what they're going through and get some perspective on potentially, basically, it's coaching, if they want that. And we can do other things too. It's pretty flexible, that time, that one on one time. But the $5 tier gets you access to everything that Order has to offer, other than specific sessions, dedicated one on one time. So if you do want that one on one time with me, um, then it's a it's actually a way to get it less expensive than what I normally would charge for individual sessions with people. So if you're not a member, you can totally get a tarot reading from me, but it's a lot less expensive if you are a member. And you can utilize that as a tarot reading or whatever you prefer, whatever you like. within reason, of course. um, okay. Okay, yeah, so there's no other comments here. So I'd like to try and do these live streams a lot more frequently. There were some events in my life in the past couple weeks that um, I needed to focus on, and I wasn't able to do these live streams. Um, and some of you know what those events were, and it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. It's a very happy thing, but it required my complete attention, and I wasn't able to do these live streams. But I'd like to get into doing these live streams a lot more often. Hopefully, I can come back tomorrow evening to do another live stream as well. And also, if you have questions, feel free to bring them up during these live streams, even if it isn't on topic with what the theme of that particular live stream is. Like, if you have any questions now, I've got a few more minutes that I can hang out. If there is, if there are any questions people want to bring up, I can field those questions here. Otherwise, I'm probably going to wrap this up in a few minutes and get a bit of rest, and then we can come back tomorrow, hopefully, and do a winter solstice live stream. And actually, technically, it's past midnight now, I believe. Yep, and where I am at least. So happy winter solstice, happy Luciferian New Year. Like I said earlier at the beginning of the stream, the winter solstice today, technically today because it's past midnight, is the beginning of year 13 of the new Luciferian era. And that is it's a calendar for one thing, and it began on December 21st of 2012 in the Gregorian calendar, and it tracks the natural cycles rather than arbitrary months. For example, they it tracks lunations, the actual lunar cycle that happens about every 29 days. Um, and we can get into the new Luciferian era tomorrow, probably. That would be a good topic to talk about on the winter solstice, which is the New Year's Day of the new Luciferian era calendar. So if you're interested in that, come back tomorrow night. Same bat time, same bat channel. Actually, it might be hopefully a little earlier. Hopefully, I can start a little earlier tomorrow. But if you want to get updated on when I'm going live, I would recommend, of course, subscribing to the YouTube channel and turning on the notification bell, but that's not always the most reliable. You don't always get notified right away or at all. Um, but the most reliable way is to go to the Patreon. So the Patreon is at patreon.com/ Novus Ordo Luciferi. And you can find that Patreon if you go to the NOL website. There's links to it there. And follow the NOL Patreon account. And you don't have to pay any money to become a follower of the account. You can become a free follower of the Patreon page. And anytime that I'm going to be going live on this YouTube channel here, my personal YouTube channel, I post a public post on the Patreon, on the NOL Patreon account. And if you are a free follower or paid, but if you are a follower of the Patreon account, you will get an email notification with the link to the live stream in that email. And that is the most reliable way to keep informed on when I'm going to be going live. And I do other free posts as well. So it's not all um, locked behind the $5 per month paywall, which, let's be honest, $5 isn't a significant amount. If you want to participate, but you don't have to pay that $5 to get these email notifications. You can totally be a free follower of the Patreon, and there are documents and teachings that are free on the Patreon. For example, there is a Longevity Foundations PDF file that you can download, and that's on a free post on the Patreon. And I think it's about 14 pages, and it has some incredibly valuable information in there for an occultist who wants to establish a more establish healthy lifestyle choices, and with the intention to extend their lifespan. It's a good complement to an alchemical practice to work at longevity from multiple angles, not just from the esoteric side of things, but also uh, from the mundane side. If we can work at it from both angles, then there's a synergy there which can um, increase the chances of of achieving longevity. So if that is something that interests you, you can go to the Patreon account and download that PDF document. And like I said, if you want to stay up to date on when I'm going live, that is the ideal place. Just become a free follower of the Patreon, and not only will you get the occasional teaching or practice document that becomes available to free followers of the Patreon page, but you will also get an email notification every time I'm going to be going live on this channel. Sometimes I don't know that I'm going to have a chance to do the live stream like this evening. I posted it like literally a couple minutes before I went live because I wasn't sure, because things have been so hectic lately, and I've had a lot of demands on my time. I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to go live tonight. So when I was sure, I made that post on the Patreon, and that would have sent an email out to anybody who was a follower of the Patreon. And you will get that email notification to let you know that I'm going to be going live. And I try and give as much um, notice ahead of time as I can. But like I said, sometimes it's just literally a few minutes before I go live. But either way, that email gets sent out. So um, hopefully you'll join me here tomorrow, and we can discuss the new Luciferian era calendar. We can discuss the winter solstice and the significance of that within Luciferianism and the occult. And if you have any questions, then bring them up in the chat tomorrow or any other live stream that you catch, and I'll do my best to address those questions and give you answers from my perspective. And let's actually, you know what? I often do this at the beginning, but let's do it now before we close off. Let's do a divination using the I Ching. And this is my favorite copy of the I Ching. It is called I Ching the Oracle by Benabel Wen. And she's a YouTuber as well. I encourage you to look up her channel, um, Benna Belwen. And she has some amazing information on esoteric Taoism on her channel, as well as some forms of Western esotericism. She has a lot of information about tarot, for example. But where she really shines is in explaining a lot of complex teachings on esoteric Taoism. And this is her copy of the I Ching, her translation of the I Ching. And it comes with a ton of information about esoteric Taoism, history of the I Ching, methods of deriving the hexagrams, etc. And it's amazing. It's got over 900 pages. And if you want to get a copy of this, there's a link to this book in the description of this video. But let's do, obviously, I'm not going to do a full um, derivation like with coins or euro stocks or grains of rice or any of those other elaborate methods. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a bibliomancy where I am going to open the book to a random page and I'm going to read the oracle for the hexagram that it lands on. And we'll see what happens. We'll see. And let me know if you find that it resonates with you, whether you're watching this live or if you came across this video in your feed or watching it at a later date. Whenever you happen to be watching this, this is a reading for you in in this moment right now. So let's see what we get. And let me put on my glasses for this. Okay. Oh, actually, well, there's a comment there about the I Ching. Let's see. I don't think the universe doesn't want me to work with the I Ching right now. The location of my cards keep eluding me. Oh, you have I Ching cards? That's interesting. Um, yeah, I'm not sure. I've seen I Ching cards. I'm sure they exist, but I haven't explored that format before. But yeah, I imagine that would be pretty fun to use. Oh, meant to say coins. Grab coin. I use any coin that I find. You don't have to use specific coins. You can grab coins out of your couch cushions and use those. All you have to do is designate which side is considered yin and which side is considered yang before you start. And actually, if you go to my YouTube channel, there is um, a video on how to do an I Ching reading using coins. And if you want to go really in depth, I do a full walkthrough and I go really, really in depth in this. It's like 2 hours where I go in depth and I do a full walkthrough of doing an I Ching reading using coins. And I did that for the members of the NOL. So if you go to the link in the description to the course catalog page of the NOL learning platform, you'll see the course there. And that's included if you decide to participate in the NOL for $5 a month. That is one of the many courses that you get access to unlimited while you're an active member of the NOL. And like I said, I go really in depth. And I think I take at least 2 hours going through this one reading um, that I use coins to do with. But if you want a shortened version of it, a less in depth version, I have that available for free on my YouTube channel here if you check past live streams. So, anyways, what we got here this evening is hexagram 34, which is great power. And this hexagram is composed of the thunder trigram over the heaven trigram. And I'll show you what it looks like here. That right there is the hexagram, and these are the two trigrams that it's composed of, the heaven and the above it, the thunder. So, thunder trigram above heaven trigram come together to make the great power hexagram, which is hexagram number 34. Now, the oracle states, let me read it here. Never strike until you can strike at full strength. Be alert. Be vigilant. Great power attracts great danger. Align yourself with heaven to strike with the force of heaven, and never with the force of arrogance or vanity. Do not use excessive force. Be tempered, measured, and fair. Only one who is weak would be merciless. Great power subjects one to great injury, a favorable omen for fulfillment of destiny. But be wise, or else your blessing can become your downfall. Wow. Very powerful words. I always find the I Ching to be incredibly powerful. And it's something that I wish that I had taken up much earlier in my studies. Um, I started out with tarot back when I was 17 years old. I'm 47 now, going to be 48 in less than a month. And I began with tarot, and I love tarot. Tarot is incredible, and I have spent literally over 30 years studying and exploring and experimenting with tarot. And even I've even developed um, my own tarot, although I haven't manifested a copy that you could purchase, for example. But I have my own internalized deck that I can use any other standardized deck or a makeshift deck that I've cobbled together as a proxy, a physical proxy for my internal deck. But I am working on manifesting a physical copy that people can purchase and utilize. Um, but you can learn about the system, the tarot system that I've developed, as well as just the history of tarot in general. It's one of the courses. I believe there's about 7 hours worth of material for members of the NOL. If you go to the course catalog there, you can find it. And that's included, like all the other courses, it's included in that $5 per month. So I love tarot, but I wish that I had also learned I Ching much earlier because it's just incredible. I love it. It's unique in its own way. Um, and I find that it can complement tarot a lot. And I love both. I think that both are amazing, and some very powerful words from the oracle that we got from hexagram 34 this evening, just through simple bibliomancy, where you could just open it up at a random hexagram and read the oracle. It's not a full elaborate reading like you would get if you toss the coins, or if you um, utilize the yarrow stalks, or one of the other various different methods of deriving the hexagram. But it is a quick and accessible way of getting some information. on whatever your question is. And I find that one extremely relevant for some of the things that I've been contemplating lately and planning and exploring. So, did that resonate with you? Let me know. The only coins I have are on my Santa Muerte altar, lol. Yeah, people don't tend to have as many coins these days in their pockets just normally. But um, one of the things that I like to use are coins that I picked up. Foreign coins are fun to use because they're a little more exotic. Like they're special in your mind because you're not used to seeing them all the time. But you can use currency from your own home country, the currency that you just happen to have, like I said, in your couch cushions or you find on the street, you know. You can equally do I Ching readings with just random coins that you come across. But let's wrap this up. We've been just over an hour, and I thank all of you who have hung out with me this evening. I want to thank all of you who are. Paul Bear said I wouldn't mind 3 toonies for I Ching. Yeah, toonies. I think I might have a couple toonies in my jacket pocket. Those are $2 coins in Canadian currency. If you're not aware of the slang term toonie. But yeah, I probably have at least a couple. Maybe not three though. I don't know if I've got three toonies in my jacket pocket or not. But maybe somewhere around the house I could find 3 toonies. Because I am in Canada. If you didn't know. But yeah, thanks again to everybody who hung out and participated, especially those who participated in the live chat. Anybody who clicked the like button on this, I see that there is at least 20 people who clicked like tonight. Thank you for that. It is a big support to what we're doing here and sharing knowledge. It helps share the knowledge to a wider audience when you do that and helps you you can participate in being a light bearer just by hitting that like button to help share this knowledge with a wider audience to make it more accessible. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate anybody here who is watching this as an archive video after the fact, who has, especially if you've made it this far, if you've sat through over an hour of me talking about the LRS, the Luciferian Research Society, talking about the Novus Ordo Luciferi, talking about the Flambeau Noir International Left Hand Path Conference, and all of these ideas and concepts and initiatives. I really appreciate that you've made it this far, and I hope you'll join me tomorrow evening when we can get into the new Luciferian era calendar, what the new Luciferian era is in general, and we can talk about the winter solstice and that sort of thing. And hopefully, I can start it a little earlier in the evening, but I'm going to do my best to pop on uh, whenever I can. If at all possible, I will be on tomorrow night to talk about these topics. And until next time, stay lucid.